Thursday. Today, I would like to talk about perfectionism. This is something that can really impact every part of our lives and really hold us back and really prevent us from just enjoying things and just being happy. It's it's kind of, if you think of perfectionism, and a lot of people think, some people even take pride in it, thinking, oh well, everything's going to be that much better. I don't just settle, that sort of attitude. But perfectionism is really having the attitude that nothing is ever good enough, right? It's because perfect, just literally, it doesn't exist. It's your idea of perfect is going to be different from my idea of perfect, which is going to be different from like everyone else's. It really just depends on your taste, what you like, all these different things, right? And it's the um, kind of that idea again about, our different perceptions create our different realities. Therefore, our perceptions and our tastes and stuff create what we would define as perfect, even though there is no perfect. Because again, if you can't have any, it might be perfect for you in that moment or something, but yeah, perfect just isn't really a thing at all. um, there are, again, so many ways this holds us back. It holds us back in business, it holds us back in relationships, it holds us back in just like that being happy, enjoying our home life, like literally every aspect. It holds us back. Same with like if you're trying to do self growth, if you're trying to even like losing weight, anything, this perfectionism holds us back, because if it's not 100% perfect, we discard it, we don't do it, we procrastinate, we, right? All of these things. So a good one, like for business, if you're a person who does a lot of content, you promote your business online, maybe even like you want to do brochures, flyers, whatever it is, you're really trying to get out there, do Facebook Lives or channels or whatever it is, where you've been sitting on that flyer, it has to get done, you're getting upset, you're causing yourself stress and anxiety because this brochure is not done. But it's not done because it's not perfect, because it'll never be perfect, because those people who suffer from perfectionism, we find flaws, and therefore we will always nitpick something to death, and it will pretty much never be perfect. And then usually what happens is some sort of deadline happens to force us into actually completing this, not because we chose to. It has been forced upon us. And then we're upset, we have more stress. Then we start having anxiety over worrying about what other people are going to think because it's not perfect. And it's kind of like this is something I still kind of struggle with, where people will say, oh, like, your meal was so good, or this was so amazing, or this was done really well. And you're just like, oh, haha, it was nothing. Oh, it wasn't really me. Oh, it wasn't really like, because we can't just admit we did a good job. We did something amazing that someone else loves and appreciates, but it wasn't good enough for us. There was some flaw, or 100 of them we found. So we can't take that compliment because we know that it wasn't good enough. And it's so funny because if you think about it, in that moment of coming up with, oh, well, we're almost kind of beating ourselves down, we're critiquing, and that's a very negative thing to do, right? Whereas if we just sat there and we're just like, hey, this meal was amazing, and you just said, yeah, it is really good. I'm thankful I did a great job with it. I'm feeling good. Everything's good. Life is good. I'm not doing any hamster wheels. I'm just sitting, enjoying. We all have a nice consent. Everybody's happy, right? So this is, it really does, again, it really steals the show from everything. And that, like that brochure, not putting it out, maybe, 6 weeks later, you still haven't put it out. You still haven't sent to print or whatever because it's not perfect. Meanwhile, you've lost how many clients, how much income you could have made in those 6 weeks if you just would have put it out. So it's kind of like we want to get used to embracing good enough is good enough. right? Which kind of to perfectionist sounds like I don't want just good enough. But good enough can be perfect because perfect doesn't exist. This is where, I people that judge, people that find flaws, whether they suffer from their own perfectionism, people with that sort of mentality will always find flaws. So you can have the most perfect whatever in the world, whether it's a dress, a meal, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, decorations, and you think it's just absolutely 100% perfect, it is flawless. Those people will find a flaw, even if it might be, insignificant or maybe something they kind of made up or just a detail that they just don't like. They're like, oh, that color just doesn't go with the other color. I would have done something differently. Judgy people, critical people will always find a flaw. They will always nitpick something. And that is why perfectionism is so toxic for us because, again, that perfect doesn't exist because anyone can just demolish that, right? If you choose to let it. So that's where you really need to decide your expectations, your standards of your life, because why are you trying to be so perfect? Is this almost more of we're tapping into slight OCD thing or whatever, or is it because you're afraid of being judged? A lot of people are really terrified to go on social media to do maybe the Facebook lives to promote their business, even though they know they should, because they're afraid of being judged. But really, who cares? Because again, um, people who are going to judge you or nitpick or critique are going to do that regardless. You can have the perfect background, the perfect hair, the perfect everything, and they will find something to say because that's just what they do in this moment. Not saying people can't change, but in the moment of them being a critiquer or a judgy or whatever, they will do that. It just, unfortunately, you just get there and be you and do the live. And there are always people, it's like having a group of friends. There are always people you're going to click with, you're going to resonate with, someone's going to hear you, see you in all of your not being perfect, you just being you, and be like, yeah, I like what they're saying. That person resonates with me. I love that they're just being them. And another thing to remember in this world of AI, everything and deep fakes and God only knows what's real anymore. And it's really tough to tell. Videos are faked, photos are faked, AI creates everything. Even these bot messages that'll pop up on your social media, it is just, oh my God, the robot on when you call like a bank or something. Like, we really crave human contact, whether it's just a voice on the other end of a real human, or again, those videos, those lives. We really just want a little bit of genuine human interaction. So I think it's really important now more than ever to just be you. If something strikes your fancy of like, oh, I really need to get this out there. And I've done this on my Facebook feed where I'm out running in the morning and something's like, and I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. Oh my goodness, I have to share this. This is really important message for people. And I get back and I'm just, covered in sweat. I look how I look because I've just, been outside running for however long. But I jump on, I get my message out there, and I say, oh, sorry guys, I just came back from a run, but this is really important. I wanted to get it out before I forget. And I get it out there. Who cares? And if you're a person that's going to judge me for going on a Facebook Live when I've just finished a run, because I think the message is very important, important enough to get out there, to say it in all my sweaty, glory, then we're not resonating. We're not clicking as people, and we're probably not going to work well together. And, you're probably not the best fit for me and I for you as a, client coach basis. And that's fine. So, even with you being you, then you're going to attract those people to your business even more that you want, that you need, your ideal clients, right? And that goes for even, some people, like I have people who own cleaning businesses. And, people think, well, I'm not a coach, I own a cleaning business. Well, that's fine. But even in that regard, there are certain sorts of people, those people that are always, that like the problem child, the people that always complain, the people that always have a problem, they're not really easy to work with. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, there are just certain types of people generally that are not the best fit, that you don't really necessarily want to have for clients, because it's almost like there'll be trouble, there'll be a hassle, they'll cause you stress that you don't need. Whereas you can attract the other people that are, whatever, just suits you a little bit better, right? And if you're one of those people too, like, don't get me wrong, it's all about, again, like I said, your standards, your what you want to your life to look like. So if you're a person who never wants to wear makeup, I know for myself, my goal, I don't care how much money I make, I could be a cajillionaire, I am always going to wear comfortable clothes. I love being comfortable. I might like to look nice. I might wear nice clothes that are also comfortable, but I'm always going to wear comfortable clothes. That is me. I love it. But if you're one of those people that you just love looking good, your hair always has to be done, your makeup is done, you're always wearing high heels, but you do it because it makes you feel good. You're not doing it to get noticed by other people. You're not doing it for the attention to make, other people jealous, or what. You're literally doing it because you feel good looking that way. Maybe you were raised that way, maybe you just have different values in appearances, whatever it is. Then that's fine. Then you can make yourself as perfect as you love being for you, right? Because it's for you, it makes you happy. You're not trying to do it, like those brochures again. If you think for whatever reason that people will not call your service because there might be a typo or some sort of weird thing in a corner, people don't notice these things. It's not a big deal, or they glance over it or whatever. And again, it's that, what kind of person do you want? Me personally, I've seen typos in business cards or brochures or whatever. I'm kind of a grammar Nazi, but I wouldn't ever think to not call the person because of a typo or something. Like, that's just pretty ridiculous, right? And if I was that type of person, that, you know, again, like, I know I wouldn't want to work with someone that's going to be that nitpicky, because they're going to miss the message, they're going to miss the mark, they're too focused on being critical and picking things out. So it's just to just get it out there. And remember, this is actually, it just popped into my head, a good story. In our high school, college days, when we have all the acne struggles and all these things, this has happened so many times. It's happened to me, it's happened to all my friends. I know it's happened to you, where we have a pimple somewhere and we cover it up or whatever with the makeup, but we're so self-conscious about it. We just know it's like this beacon light flashing, and it's all people can stare at, and it's this big issue. But then, when whatever in the conversation, somehow we always tend to bring it up because we're so self-conscious, and we need to bring it up because we need to laugh it off, because we just need to, like, it's like validating it to get it off, get that worry of everyone staring at it off of our minds. It's this weird thing. But when it does get brought up, almost every time everyone's like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that till you pointed it out. Like, how many times have you heard that? I didn't even notice till you pointed it out. Right? So this is the same with whatever you think the flaw is, whatever is keeping you, it's not perfect. 90% of everyone is not going to notice, and that 10%, you might just not want to deal with them anyways, right? Like, it's not a big deal. So we really need to embrace that good enough is good enough, and just let it be. Like, let's not overcomplicate life. right? Keep it simple. There's a reason that saying is there for, everyone. It's been there, I don't know. I don't want to say as old as time, but as long as I remember, I believe people have been saying that. Keep it simple. This is the cornerstone of life. Don't overcomplicate it, right? And really sit down and reevaluate why you're doing these things, right? Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it because, your circle of friends, maybe the peer pressure of whatever, or, that fear of being judged, or, all these different things that can play into us. And just really, what would you love your life to look like? Let's say, I hate using the word because I kind of would love for it to just not exist, but your perfect life, your definition of it. And write stuff out and list them out. And when you're doing that, make sure like no other people's opinion are coming into your mind. Who cares what society thinks? Like, right? Just like, what does your ideal life, what do you want to be living? And just when I say that, I mean, like one of my clients one time, we are talking about this, and it's the why are you doing things, right? And in that conversation she realized that, yeah, she got married and she had two kids with zero thought of if she wanted to be married, how many kids she actually wanted. She's like, yeah, I got married and had two kids because that's what you do. She's like, well, I love my kids and I want them, but I didn't actually think about if I wanted them. She said she just had them because that's what you do, right? And it's that really taking the time. And it was funny because she was almost kind of, shocked at like, holy crap, yeah, I've never actually sat down and thought, what do I want for my life? Right. And a lot of us get caught up in that. I know, like, even myself, it wasn't if you went to college, it was where. You didn't even think twice about not going, you just went. Where are you going to go? And now, don't get me wrong, I think education is important, all forms of education, whatever you're learning. But would I have necessarily gone to university if I actually stopped to think about what I wanted to do? Because I went in my first year general studies because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just figuring stuff out, winging it. And so, really, I come out of there with all these student loans. And had I actually thought about it, I probably wouldn't have gone in the first place because I didn't even know what I wanted to do, really. Right? Um, Now, I will also have a little side note to that. I don't regret anything. I don't believe in regrets. We are all the people we are today because of every single thing that's happened in our past, good or bad. So I do believe in being grateful for everything and never regretting, never wishing to change anything. Because if you change one detail, your life today will be gone. And so I don't believe in anything like that. That's just my opinion. Agree with it or don't. It's all you live your best life. And but yeah, to really think about what you want your life to look like, right? Who cares? Again, take out society, take out friends, take out all the pressures, take out all the everything on social media telling you what to be. And that goes for everything. Your work, do you love your work? Is there something you've always wanted to do, but you've thought about opening a business or changing jobs, or maybe you own a business because that's the thing to do, but you'd prefer to be back in corporate world, doing something else. Think about what you truly want. Even like people, and I used to have this in my younger days, of course, trying to be the super thin, really, you know magazine cover perfect, but that's not my body type. That's it's When I really think about it, I don't need to be like that. There's a certain level I'm very content with. Society had told me be extra, but I'm like, you know what? That's kind of dumb. And how many diets I did, and exercising, extreme, and all these things, all this effort I put into being something, and that's why I never achieved that body type because I didn't actually want it. And that's another thing to take into consideration. If we don't actually deeply desire, if we don't actually want these things, this is why we can never achieve them, right? So you have to really think about, I guess an example would be if you see those people that have everything, they have all the money, great kids, the vehicles, the clothes, the kind of like those really, we always consider them the super blessed housewives who just have the life, have everything. And a lot of them aren't happy because that's not actually what they want for their life. That's what society's told them the goal is, right? And whatever you want in your life, whatever your ideal life is good. There is no right or wrong. There's it's literally whatever fits with you. It's whatever you love. Like, it's kind of like if you see those things where they're like, "What's your ideal place?" And it's like a beach, a forest, mountains, right? Everyone's answer is going to be different, and that's how it should be. We're not little cookie cutter robots off the line. Like, we should all have different ideas, and we should halt. Like, my perfect life is not going to be your perfect life, right? So why we try and achieve this level of perfect? It's unattainable, and we're just going to be spinning our wheels, and we're just going to be stalling out, because again, it just really holds us back in life, this unattainable expectation. And another story I just want to share, I know I've shared a lot of stories this go around, but I think it's so important is like, if and I've done this in my past, I've been super guilty of this, trying to look perfect. Maybe you're going on a date, an evening out, a big party, a gala, whatever it is, and you're trying to be perfect. And maybe the hair isn't working quite right, or maybe you're a little bloated and the clothes aren't quite fitting like you want them to. Whatever it might be, we get hung up if we're suffering from that perfectionism. We're going to be upset. Maybe we're going to be late to the event because we're trying to fix the hair, we're trying to fix the clothes. Maybe if you're really extreme, you just don't go out. um, or for myself, what would happen is we'd end up being late and I'd be upset. So I was choosing, essentially subconsciously choosing to ruin my whole night, um, by letting this perfectionism overtake me. And then, we're sitting there the one evening, and I just sat there stewing on, my hair wasn't right, I didn't like it, it was looking silly, it kept bothering me, I keep playing with it or whatever. And I literally didn't allow myself to enjoy this beautiful, wonderful evening because I was so caught up in the fact that I didn't look perfect, and I was upset about it. How silly is that? Again, and what I said before, most people don't notice. You say, "Oh, my hair didn't turn out right." I guarantee you, I mean, 90% of people will mean it, but maybe some people are just being nice. But they're gonna say, "Your hair looks beautiful. What are you talking about?" Right? Because we're the only ones that notice. We're our biggest critiquers, we're our biggest judgers, and it's just silly. So that's where, you know, good enough is good enough. Oh, hey, my hair's not working with me. Do whatever. You know what? It's good enough. I still look good. It's fine. Clothes, whatever. I'm bloated. Who cares? Do what you can. If you can solve the problem, solve it. Otherwise, it is what it is. Just roll with it. Go out and have fun. And again, like, who cares? Because you're not doing a red carpet walk. You're there to go out and have a beautiful, wonderful evening. So why are you letting these silly things take that away from you? Right? So again, kind of wrap that up a bit. Perfect just doesn't exist because everyone's definition is so different. Judgy people, critical people will always find a flaw in whatever you're trying to do. So just, if you're doing something to, impress other people, to get the validation from other people, for any reason aside from it brings you joy, or your family joy, which brings you joy, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. You need to reevaluate. You need to rethink the whole thing, because someone will always bring you down, always. And that leads into the expectations and standards of your life. What do you want your life to look like? Why are you doing these things? Right? It's that, like, I always think of the movie, I love this movie, Bad Moms. She always tries to be so perfect. The perfect mom, the perfect worker, the perfect this, the perfect that. And she's miserable. The kids are miserable. Everybody's miserable in that movie until the end, where they realize there is no perfect. We're all doing the best we can with what we have and what we know. There is no perfect. And once we just, like, you know, unbutton the belt and just, relax and just be us, and again, do the things that we love and makes us happy, makes our family happy, and what we actually enjoy. People are happy. We're having a good time now. The kids are happy. She's happy. Like, right? And it is a good. It's a funny movie, and it's pretty, a little bit out there at times, but it's so true. When we strive for this unattainable thing that really no one cares about except us, we make ourselves miserable. We cause stress and needless anxiety for nothing, and no one cares, right? Whereas we just drop the facade, think, what do I want my life to look like? What do I love doing? You know, I, yeah, it's just, we just learn to embrace the happiness, go with the flow, and oh, why don't you want to come camping? Because I hate it. It makes me miserable. I just hate bugs, and I'm gonna just hate my life the whole time I'm out there, and my misery is gonna affect you guys. Let's just avoid that, right? Don't do it because you're supposed to, do it because you want to. So I hope this is helpful, guys. It really is something, like I said, even in the business front, you could be. I've heard so many stories of little startups. Obviously, I'm a coach, so all these other coaching people trying to get out there, and we need to promote on social media. That's kind of a bit of our lifeblood. And even if you're not on social media, you need to get out there and flyer. There's always advertising to get the word out. And how many little startups, 6, 8 months in, like you're about to die as a new business because you're too afraid to put out the brochure, do the Facebook Live, do some content, just do something because it's not going to be perfect, so I can't do it. Well, now you are like it's that inadvertent. Your fear is already happening and you don't even know it. Like, oh, I really am afraid that someone's going to judge me and my business is going to fail. Well, your business is going to fail if you don't just get out there and do something, right? So it's that, yeah, it just holds us back in so many ways. So don't let it hold you back. Really picture, and I'm a big, if you watch me at all, big paper pen person. Write it down. What do you want your life to look like? Write it all down. I don't know if you have a vision board you want to do, and really have it there so you can reread it, you can know it, you can stick with it, and really remember, yeah, this is what I want my life to look like. This is why I do things. Okay. And I don't think I haven't done a video yet on willpower. I should do another one, and then we'll grow the willpower so we can actually stick to it, right? Stick to the life we actually want to create for ourselves and we want to have. So I hope this is helpful, guys. I know in the past couple decades, I think back, and my goodness, there's so many, and women struggle obviously way worse than men for this because men, generally speaking, just really don't care what other people think for the most part. And way too many of us suffer from perfectionism, and it's just toxic, and it's just not good, and usually it's for all the wrong reasons. So reevaluate. Perfect doesn't exist. What do you want your life to look like? Do what brings you joy and brings your family joy, which will bring you joy. And that's what we need to live by, not by what other people think. So I will say, guys, have an amazing rest of your Thursday. The weekend's almost here, which is great. It is May, it is spring, pretty much summer now in Mexico, pretty hot. So, yeah, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be beautiful and awesome. And of course, choose to have a wonderful weekend because our life is always choices. And we can choose to just be happy, choose the positivity, choose to be grateful, choose to be